Good morning, S4 Triple E students of SJCET. Since we are in lockdown condition, we took theory classes online. Now we are intending to take laboratory experiments, pending laboratory experiments through demonstration classes. The first experiment for S4 Triple E we are going to demonstrate today is separation of losses in a single phase transformer. When we consider the losses in any electrical machine, why do we measure the losses? The losses are measured to examine the quality of the product, to examine how much energy is wasted during its operation period. The energy wasted will be definitely going to affect our sustainability also, because power is generated through burning of fuel, and it is very essential for engineers to keep the wasted energy a minimum. Transformers are designed to give a specified very low losses. If such a design is done, we will have to verify after making the transformer, after manufacturing the transformer, how much will be the losses, whether it is corresponding to the design values. If it is not corresponding to the design values, we will have to change the design to suit the required minimum losses. That is the purpose of doing an experiment in the laboratory class and verifying the losses in the works of the manufacturer. These tests are done at the manufacturing center also to verify how much is the losses. The importance of loss is that in order to improve the efficiency, the losses should be minimum. Transformer is a static machine, therefore definitely the movement losses are not there. Only electrical and magnetic losses are present in a transformer. Transformer converts energy from one level to another level with change in voltage and current. Therefore, the verification of losses in a transformer is very, very simple. That is done by two experiments. That is, no load power is consumed for the magnetization of the transformer, and the winding losses will be occurring during the loading condition of the transformer. What are the losses in a transformer? The losses in the transformer are the first place magnetic losses that is happening in the core of the transformer. It is again known as iron loss because the core is made up of steel, CRGO, cold rolled grain oriented steel. That is known as iron losses. Again, at no load, the power is drawn for just producing the secondary voltage induced. The copper losses very, very minimal. So we take the no load losses as the magnetic losses. Then copper losses, it is a variable loss that is happening due to the heating of the transformer winding, primary winding and secondary winding. That depends upon the resistance of the primary winding and secondary winding. Put together will be giving the copper loss. These two losses can be very easily measured. No load power measurement will give you the magnetic losses, whereas a short circuit measurement will give you the winding losses, neglecting very small magnetic losses which is happening at the time of short circuit, because the applied voltage is very minimal, only about 2% or 3% of the rated voltage. So that separation of no load and winding losses, copper loss, is not a difficulty. Whereas now we are going to see the magnetic losses. Magnetic losses, we say it as a losses. It is not merely a loss. It is consisting of components. The main components of magnetic losses are the hysteresis loss, then eddy current loss. The hysteresis loss is taking place inside molecular level. It is happening. So because of the molecular movement the hysteresis loss, alignment of the molecules, hysteresis loss happens. Whereas eddy current is a loss that is created in the core due to eddy current, small currents induced in the core laminations. Eddy current loss and hysteresis loss are entirely, its functions are different. Lamination thickness, if you reduce to very minimum, the eddy current losses can be reduced. And it is insulated, laminations are insulated. Whereas hysteresis loss depends on the quality of the magnetic material. Quality of the magnetic material. High quality magnetic materials are available, different makes are available. Then CRGO is one of the best material which is used. Laser scribed core materials are used to minimize hysteresis loss. So we will have to find out what are the components of magnetic losses in order to change the design, in order to change the purchase of the magnetic material, in order to fix the lamination thickness. Depending upon lamination thickness, definitely the codes are specified as M4. Thickness of the lamination is 0.23 millimeter, M3 0.21 millimeter, M2 and M6, these are the variations in lamination thickness. If you want to reduce those losses, another core material with less thickness for the core can be made use of. So hysteresis loss Bmax raised to 1.6 and F, flux density and frequency. These are the two system parameters that is affecting the hysteresis loss. Whereas eddy current loss is square of the flux density maximum Bmax square and F square. These two put together is the magnetic loss. Therefore we can equate the no load power that is measured is consisting of this A, Bmax, if we can keep as constant, A into F, then eddy current loss, if Bmax is kept constant, it can be written as Bf square. The no load power measured will be equal to Af and Bf square, provided the Bmax is a constant. A transformer working with the power frequency 50 is having the flux density constant. The transformer is known as a constant flux machine also. Most of the machine where the voltages are constant. The primary voltage, if it is 11 kV, we are giving only 11 kV, slight variations. Secondary voltage, if it is 415 volt, it will be producing 415, with some tolerance. So the voltage is constant. Voltage constant means the flux density will also be constant. If this equation is suitably modified, we can get certain inferences and see W0 divided by F. From this equation, it comes as A plus BF. If you verify, if you check this equation, A plus BF is an equation of a straight line. If you plot W0, which can be measured, and if you know the frequency W0 by F, we can calculate. Then on this side, we don't know A and F, but we know the frequency. If you plot W0 by F versus F, you will be getting a straight line like this. A straight line like this. And this portion, the touching of the straight line with y-axis, the crossing of y-axis, A will be given. The slope of the straight line will be B, the slope if you calculate. Once A and B are available, we can definitely find out what is hysteresis loss, AF for that frequency, BF square. Here, one specific thing is there, that is the flux density is to be constant throughout this experiment. And the experiment is done with the change of frequency. Change the frequency, measure the no load input. When you change the frequency, the flux density will also change. So it creates a lacuna, a certain problem. We want to change the frequency, then naturally flux density will also be changed. In order to keep flux density, we will have to analyze still further. The voltage equation of a transformer is given by this. Voltage or EMF equation of a transformer is V or induced EMF. V and induced EMF are more or less same within certain limits of error. It is 4.44 F phi m. Phi m means flux maximum into turns, T turns. In some of the equations it may be N, turns may be given as N, but in this experiment we will be coming across speed. Speed is also given by the letter N, abbreviation N. So I have given, instead of N1 and N2 for the turns, here I mentioned it as T. So V is equal to 4.44 F B max into area. Flux in a machine, in a transformer, flux is equal to flux density into area. B max into area into T. From that, B max we can derive, bringing to this side B max and modifying the equation, V by F by 4.44 by area by turns. If you examine this equation, 4.44 is definitely a constant. The area of the core of the transformer is also a constant once it is manufactured. Number of turns on the primary and secondary sides are also constant. So T will also be constant. In order to keep B max constant, V by F, if you can bring it as constant, the experiment can be done with the variation of frequency. We want to vary the frequency and we want to see that flux density is also constant during the experiment. For that, we will be keeping V by F a constant. If that is kept constant, definitely the experiment conditions are satisfied, V by F. Now we can think of how we can keep V by F constant. When you vary F, if you vary voltage, then V by F can be made constant. For 50 Hertz, if the voltage is 230 for that winding, 230 by 50 is the constant. That is the constant according to the rated conditions, 230 divided by F. Now 230 divided by 50 will be about 4 point something. 250 by 50 is 5. 200 by 50 is 4. So 4.6 or something like that. You will be getting a constant. So throughout the experiment you will have to keep that as constant, the V by F. So if you increase the frequency to 55, definitely the 230 volt should also be increased to that level, more than 230. If you reduce the frequency to 45, 230 voltage should be brought down to say some 200 or so. So definitely frequency and voltages are changed. Now in our supply system, frequency is constant. Voltage, if you want, you can change by making use of variac. Another name for that is dimmerstat, and you can loosely call it as autotransformer also. By making use of autotransformer, variac or dimmerstat, you can get variation in voltage. That is not a difficult affair. But how to get frequency change? In order to get frequency change, we will have to make use of our own generator, our own alternator. If an alternator is under our custody, its frequency can be changed. the alternator, apart from the supply system. So for the supply system, we cannot change the frequency in a regular course. But there are certain power electronic devices through which we can change the frequency. But here we are making use of an alternator. The alternator, the equation of speed and frequency of an alternator is given by speed n is given by the equation 120 F by P. The speed of the alternator is governed by this equation 120 frequency by P number of poles. Pole for an alternator is constant, 120 is constant. So variation of frequency can be achieved by merely changing the speed of the alternator. The alternator is run by a motor, DC motor in our laboratory. That DC motor speed can be changed very easily. There are methods for changing the speed of the motor. The easiest method is to change its field current. If you change the field current, the speed will also be changed. Speed change is achieved by changing the field current. Field current change is done making use of a resistance in the field circuit. A rheostat is put in the field circuit and it can be changed. Naturally, the speed of the motor will change. When speed of the motor changes, the frequency of the alternator changes. So all these can be changed to suit our condition of keeping V by F constant, and for plotting the power, no load power versus frequency against frequency. If that is done, this plot can be made. From this plot you can find out the constants A and B. Once A and B are available, definitely AF will be hysteresis loss, B F square will be the eddy current loss. In this way we will be doing the experiment. Now we will be seeing the circuit diagram for that. So for the experiment, we want to change the frequency, we want to change the voltage and measure the no load power of a given transformer with respect to this. The experiment is very simple. Doing the experiment of separation of losses in a single phase transformer in our laboratory in a 3 kVA transformer. This is the 3 kVA transformer representation. It is having a voltage ratio of 115 volt by 230 volt. On one side it is 115 volt, on the other side it is 230 volt. Any side can be made use of for doing the experiment. But this being a no load experiment, the no load current will be definitely very small compared to the rated current of the transformer. The rating of the transformer is 3 kVA, which by making use of the calculation, the equation for voltage and current, 115 volt kVA is given. You can divide 3 kVA, that is 3000 volt ampere by 115 on this side, 115 volt side. That will be the 115 volt side. It is around 26 ampere. On the 230 volt side, it is just half of that. That is about 13 ampere. So on one side it is 26 ampere, on the other side it is 13 ampere, the full load current. The no load current will be a certain percentage of the full load current. It is about 5%, 5 to 6% full load current. So the no load current will be very small compared with the rated current of the transformer. The no load current will be greater of the two, it will be greater on the 115 volt side. Therefore, we are doing the experiment on the 115 volt side, where you will be getting a reasonably good value of current for measurement. If it is very small, the measurement inaccuracies will be more. That is why we have selected the low voltage side, 115 volt side, for conducting the experiment. The 115 volt side and 230 volt side. On 115 volt side, we are going to give certain measuring instruments connected to that, and also we are going to vary the voltage and frequency of the supply here. Voltage and frequency of the supply here. For voltage variation, we are making use of the dimmer stat, variac or auto transformer connected here. The variable voltage is obtained by means of this variac. That is applied to the transformer 115 volt side for making a good current. The ratings of the ammeter is decided based on the rating of the transformer and 0 to 2 ampere. Then since we are making use of 115 volt side, the voltmeter is rated for 150 volt. Similarly, wattmeter measures the no load power. The no load power, the power factor will be very, very low. So the wattmeter that is used to measure the no load power should be of accurate measurement for low power factor, so that is an LPF wattmeter 2 ampere 150 volt. These are connected on the side 115 volt side, the variac. Now we will have to get variable frequency supply. In order to get variable frequency supply, it is taken from an alternator. This part of the diagram is the alternator. Alternator is having armature winding, 3-phase armature winding, 3 windings connected in star. The terminals are given by the letters U, V, W. 3-phase terminals and neutral are available on the output side of the alternator on the diagram. It is connected to that. Then the alternator will be having a DC winding, field winding for supplying DC to the field winding, so that the alternator, when it is rotated, runs, generates AC voltage on the terminals. This part is the alternator side with the field winding here. Field winding requires a DC supply. So from the DC source, it is given to the alternator field winding. The field winding current is to be changed, so a variac, rheostat is put into circuit with a measuring device, ammeter, to see what is the current taken by the field winding. This rheostat for getting wide variation on the field current, so that we will be having definite voltage on the terminal side. We are making use of 1000 ampere to 1000 ohm 2 ampere rheostat on this side. Now coming to the prime mover side. Prime mover is a DC motor. So the starting and running of the DC motor is same as that you did for DC machines. This is the motor which is having armature A1, A2 and a field winding F1, F2, which is connected through a starter. The purpose of the starter is to limit the starting current. It's a 3-point starter having line terminal, field terminal, armature terminal, L, F, A. Starter is shown here, and DC supply, 220 volt DC supply is given to the starter through an MCB, DP, double pole MCB is provided in the circuit for switching on and off, and also for protection. For measuring the supply voltage, 220 volt is given, so 250 volt DC. Voltmeter is provided. MCB 20 ampere is made use of. We are calculating the rating of MCB by knowing the motor rating. The motor nameplate details can be verified. The full load current, if it is less than 20 ampere MCB can be used. If it is more than 20 ampere, you can take another MCB rating, say 25 ampere MCBs are available, 32 ampere MCBs are, depending upon the motor full load current, the MCB is to be rated. Now coming to the procedure of the experiment, we will have to run the alternator at different speeds, so that we will be getting frequencies. We can run the alternator in such a way that 50 Hertz is available, 45 Hertz is available, and 40. 3 frequencies can be made use of. If you increase the frequency above 50, one thing is going to happen, that the voltage applied to the transformer should also be increased. That should go up more than the 115 volt to the rated voltage of the transformer. So we may not be doing the experiment with a higher frequency, and only the rated frequency and lower frequency ratios are taken, so that the applied voltage never goes above 115, the rated voltage of the transformer. Here the DC motor is run initially by making use of the starter. The motor is started, the motor draws current in the armature and field winding. It starts and picks up speed, and the rated speed is brought by changing the field resistance. Field resistance is changed and the rated speed of the motor is brought by adjusting the rheostat in the field. It's a simple thing. Once the rated speed is brought, we want to get voltage generated at the terminals of the alternator. For that, we will have to increase the field current of the alternator. How can we increase the field current? Cutting down the resistance in the field circuit. Making use of the rheostat, the resistance can be changed, lowered, and current will increase. In order to note the current, an ammeter is provided, but that ammeter values are not very important in this experiment, only to see that the current is not exceeded beyond the rated thing of the field winding. Now at this terminal, you will be getting the rated voltage by adjusting the current in the field winding. Voltage will be available. Then going to this side, since it is connected already to, when you apply 115 volt from the variac to the transformer winding, we will have to be very careful in order to keep the variable terminal of the dimmer stat variac to a lower value, so that the voltage is not exceeded 115. The voltage is brought to a level of 115, and the alternator is run at a speed. The alternator which is used in our college is a 4-pole alternator with 1500 ampere, 1500 RPM as the rated speed. So when it is run at 1500 RPM, it produces 50 Hertz supply with the rated voltage here 240 volts. That is applied to the transformer. So the first reading will be corresponding to the 50 Hertz. We can take wattmeter reading, ammeter reading, and voltmeter reading, the rated conditions. Then bring down the frequency to 45. How will you bring down the frequency to 45? Definitely from that formula for frequency, it depends on the speed of the alternator. Speed of the alternator is governed by the motor speed. So the motor speed is reduced. Motor speed is reduced to achieve 45 Hertz. You can calculate the speed at which the 45 Hertz supply is generated. So the motor speed is reduced to that value. It can be in the ratio of 1500 is to 50 Hertz. You can find out for 45 Hertz what should be the speed. It's about 1 by 5 10%, 150 RPM less, that is 1350 RPM. If you run the machine at 1350 RPM, you will be getting 45 Hertz supply. The motor is run at 1350 RPM. The supply here will be 45 Hertz. The voltage is to be brought down. From 115, the voltage should also be brought down to that low value, the required value. 115 is to 50, then you can find out for 45 what will be the voltage. That voltage should also be brought down. Take the readings corresponding to that frequency of 45 and that voltage, calculated voltage, get all the readings. Now for a third value of frequency, again bring down the speed of the motor from 1350 to 1200. When it is brought down to 1200, the frequency of the supply generated here will be 40. Now the voltage should also be brought down. Making use of the variac, bring down the voltage correspondingly, so that V by F is constant at 4.6 always. Take the readings. Once these readings are taken, we can draw the curve, the straight line curve, and from the curve we can find out what are the constants A and B. Once constants A and B are obtained, definitely immediately you can find out what are the losses for 50 Hertz. Hysteresis loss how much, eddy current loss how much. So a simple thing, that is a different losses for in the transformer core for hysteresis and eddy current. By knowing this, the transformer design can be checked. The purpose of the experiment is to verify whether the company has given a design in such a way that as we asked for. This is the purpose of the experiment. Simple thing. Okay, we will be going to see how connections are made in the laboratory. Okay. This is the motor alternator set on which we are doing the experiment for getting variable voltage, variable frequency supply. This is the DC motor which is driven by a DC supply from our laboratory. Nameplate details are available here on the nameplate. The very same nameplate details are exhibited on the side of this bench, test bench. On the other side, the nameplate details are given. Now this is the alternator which produces alternating voltage and power. This alternator is driven by this motor. The motor speed is adjusted to get variable frequency here. Three-phase power supply is available on the output side of the alternator, and that is brought to the front terminal box. Here the terminal box is there for giving supply to the motor. Motor terminals are brought there. DC supply point also is brought on the terminal box. There we will be getting AC. Please, speed of the motor generator set is measured by a contact tachometer. This is a contact tachometer. This is a non-contact tachometer. This can be made use of for measuring the speed of the set. Any one can be made use of. The motor is started making use of the starter on this side. This is a 3-point starter. The starter terminals are marked by L, the line terminal, armature A, and F, the field terminal. Field F1 and F2 are here. From the machine, F1 and F2 are coming. From the starter F, it is connected to one of the terminals through a rheostat. This rheostat is connected, and from the rheostat it is connected to F1. So in the series circuit, that rheostat comes. Then F2 is connected to the other line. Now from A, the connection is coming to armature terminal A1. From A1, the supply will be coming here, and it is returned to the minus terminal. A2 again going to the minus terminal. From A2, F2 is also connected. The motor side, that rheostat is provided for controlling the speed. While starting, the position of the rheostat will be at its minimum position. In order to increase the speed of the motor, the field current is to be reduced. Field current reduction is achieved by increasing the rheostat value. The resistance value is increased and speed can be brought up. So the minimum speed will be available for the minimum position. Now coming to the alternator side, the alternator requires the field winding supply DC. That DC supply is taken from there, and through this rheostat and a measuring ammeter. It is connected to the field winding F1, and F2 is returning to the negative. F2 is returning to the negative. F1 and F2 are connected from the DC side through the rheostat and an ammeter. The rheostat is for adjusting the field current. When you increase the field current, definitely the voltage induced will also be getting improved. It's becoming more and more. The voltage is built up on the terminals of the alternator. The alternator terminals are marked with U, V, W and N. For doing the experiment, we require only a single phase supply. That single phase supply is obtained from N and any one of the line. Here W is taken as the one of the line. W and N, the supply is given, is taken, and that supply is given to the dimmer stat. The connection to the dimmer stat is taken from there. The output from the dimmer stat is connected to the transformer through the measuring instruments. Measuring instruments are wattmeter, then ammeter and voltmeter. Connections are given. Wattmeter is a low power factor wattmeter. Ammeter connected in series. Voltmeter is across the lines. You can see the terminals of the dimmer stat. It is connected directly to the voltmeter. It is a multi-range voltmeter, and we are making use of the terminals 0 and 150. 0 and 150 terminals are made use of. So this voltmeter is a dual range voltmeter. You will have to be careful in taking the readings. It is corresponding to 150 scale. Then wattmeter is having current terminals here, common M and L current terminals. Then voltage terminals here. Voltage terminal that is common, and the second terminal it is connected. Voltage terminal is across the lines. Current terminal is series. So from this it is going to the ammeter. From the ammeter it is coming to the wattmeter current coil. From the wattmeter current coil it is going to the 115 volt side of the auto transformer. Then the other terminal is returned to the other side of the dimmer stat. It is connected. Now the connections are over. On this side it is kept open. So whatever supply is given on the one side, it is taking only the no load power, W0. The no load power is measured by the wattmeter here, which is an open circuit test. Open circuit test with variable frequency and variable voltage. For the initial one, the machine will be run at 50 hertz supply, that is at 1500 RPM. Now let us start the machine. We can start the machine. DC MCB is switched on. Starter is gradually cut so that motor picks up speed. Starter holds on in its final position. In its final position, the machine runs. Now we will be checking what is the RPM, what is the speed of the machine. The motor generator set, please measure the speed, no load speed. What is the speed now? The speed is 1455. For 50 hertz, the required speed is 1500. The speed is now increased by increasing the speed. Increasing the speed means reducing the current in the field of the motor. Rheostat value is increased. So that has gone beyond 1500. So almost 1500. So almost 1500. Now the machine runs at 1500 RPM. That means 50 hertz supply is generated here. Now we are going to increase the voltage of the alternator. The voltage now is only some 50 volts. Is only some 50 volts. This voltage is increased by increasing the field current of the alternator. The voltage of the alternator is getting increased. Now it is 230 here. The voltage is 230. We brought the voltage to 230 by increasing the field current of the alternator. Now the dimmer stat gets on its primary 230 volt. We will have to bring the voltage on the secondary, the voltage applied to the transformer. This is the testing transformer 3 kVA. We will be increasing the voltage. 150 side. Hundred and 15. The voltage is now 115. Now it is 50 hertz, 115 volts applied. We will have to measure the power for 50 hertz. The power for 50 hertz is given here. The reading is 93.5. Then there will be multiplication factor based on the current selection. What's the ratio? 0.5. The multiplying factor is 0.5. So this 93.5 multiplied by 0.5 give you the no-load power drawn by the transformer at present. For the present condition, that is 115 volt and 50 hertz. The current taken, we are not concerned with the current taken by this for the experiment, but we are seeing the current here, the current drawn by the primary, the 115 volt side. Voltage is 115. What is the value of current? 2 ampere. What is the value of current? 0.62 is the current. So all the readings are taken. Now the remaining part of the experiment is to bring down the frequency to 45. Bring down the frequency to 45. In order to bring down the frequency to 45, the speed is to be reduced to 1350. Doing the experiment at 45 hertz, we will have to reduce the speed by varying the rheostat in the motor field circuit by cutting down the resistance in the field circuit of the motor, and you will be getting 1350. Corresponding to 1350, you will have to reduce the voltage. For 1350, we will have to reduce the voltage from 115 to a lower value. This is to be reduced to 106. The voltage is reduced to 106 from 115. Then corresponding to this voltage and the speed 1350, take the readings of the wattmeter. Take the reading of the wattmeter. Ammeter reading is not important. Only wattmeter reading and frequency are required. Frequency is now 45 and wattmeter reading will be given to you. Now the third part of the experiment is again reducing the speed of the motor to 1200. Thereby the frequency generated here comes to 40 Hertz. When the frequency comes down to 40 Hertz, the voltage will have to be again reduced. Voltage will have to be reduced to 92. The voltage is reduced to 92 and the frequency is 40. The ratio being the same. Wattmeter reading is taken. So 3 wattmeter readings are taken. Making use of those 3 wattmeter readings and the corresponding frequencies, we can plot and we can separate the losses for 50 Hertz. 50 Hertz wattmeter reading is taken and that was 32. Okay, making use of that, we can plot the curve and complete the experiment, separate the losses. Thank you. This is the procedure and how you do the experiment. You will have to make use of the readings given and it will be sent to you, and making use of the readings you will have to calculate the constants A and B and find out the losses in 2 parts, hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. That is the final conclusion of the experiment.